Horror Lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you. I'm your usual Wednesday night host here at BodyBags, but I'm providing a fill-in here for the Tuesday slot. And I thought I would take a look at a film that's been on my shelf for at least a couple months now that I've just never opened until just recently and taken a look. And that is, of course, Christopher Smith's 2006 film Severance. And this is a film that this is a special edition DVD release for Magnolia. I found this of all places, I think back in October when, of course, there was tons of chatter running amok across our Facebook groups and whatnot about all the movies and all the hauls from Dollar Tree, from, you know, of all places. And I'm pretty sure I went in there one day and he pulled out maybe, 6 or 7 films out of their little bin, and this was one of them. And a lot of these movies just sort of came home with me, never got open, just went on the shelf. But this one, I don't know. This one, every once in a while you look at your shelves and you just kind of like, yeah, I gotta really check that one out at some point. I didn't even really, I'll be honest, I didn't even realize that Christopher Smith, the director of Black Death, which I absolutely love that film, and Creep from 2004, I didn't realize that he did this movie. And so this was a real treat to kind of dig into. And basically, I've read, it's said that this is sort of The Office meets The Hills Have Eyes. I can see why you would say that. I don't know how perfect that is. But there is that, kind of funny, unique comedy that lends itself into other, other films like Shaun of the Dead or What We Do in the Shadows. The comedy isn't really stretched out from beginning to end quite continuously, smoothly, as it is from the beginning up to a certain point. I'll call it a pivot point in the movie where things really start to take a turn. And of course, this involves, if you haven't seen it, all I'll say is it involves a bear trap. And it's grueling, what takes place. But what's even worse than what takes place during this scene is that, the camera, pulls away for a moment as the rest of our people, I'll get into here, they realize that basically they've been operating this paintball match among a school of barely hidden bear traps. How no one noticed any of these, but it's just so ominous. And when you see it, when they realize, holy freaking crap, we've been messing around here and all this is out here. But you have the sequence in of itself that is, man, just grueling. And that is probably the pivot point where from that point forward, people might disagree with me. I don't know if the comedy is quite as balanced with the horror across from that point forward. But it is still, man. It is basically what you got is this team who works for a weapons distribution company. They sell weapons to the world. And they're going on a team-building exercise in the deep wilderness, like Hungary, or right on basically the corner of Serbia and I think Romania, Hungary, whatever, right in that little niche, which it was shot in Hungary. And I'm telling you, the cinematography of just seeing this world is absolutely gorgeous to look at. I can somewhat relate a little bit. I lived in Germany for about 1.5 years when I was in the military near Mainz, and I remember we were going out to a training area, and the bus was going through the blinding snow, but it was just like the wilderness, man. It was like I really had never seen quite anything like that, and it was just mind-boggling to me. But to see the forest, the wilderness of Hungary captured on film is quite something. But anyways, so they're going out on a team building exercise. They're supposed to be staying at a luxurious sort of lodge, and of course the guy driving the bus, they have to come to a screeching halt because there's a tree out in the middle of the road. There's another alternative route that takes them another direction, but the driver doesn't have anything to do with it. They get into a bit of a scuffle. The driver finally gets out, takes all their bags and stuff, tosses them off the bus, and basically forces everyone off the bus. And he basically drives off, leaving them stranded there. And so, without a scale on a map, knowing distance or anything, they just trek up this alternative road. Well, what they find is like an abandoned sort of like it was like a mental facility or whatever that was used to try to heal war combatants who, you know, as they say in the movie, got a little too into the art of killing, and so Palisade, which is the weapons distribution company, Palisade, you know, if I remember right, they decided to kind of go in there and clean up the mess they helped create by funneling all these weapons into these war zones. And well, it's not perfect, and so a few of these guys have still been living in this area, and let's just say they're not too happy with Palisade, and so it is sort of a convenient meeting of these two parties, and probably, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. And so, you know, some of the comedy, I don't know. There's one major character, I think it's Danny Dyer, who plays Steve. He's on the bus trip out to the location. He ends up eating some magic mushrooms, and the comedy that emanates off of that and how he carries that is so freaking hilarious. It just, there's certain moments that just absolutely have me rolling. And then as quick as they have you laughing, man, you're into a moment where it's just absolutely grueling. In the end, the very end, it doesn't quite, I don't know if it quite holds up at other points of the film, but it does have an absolutely incredible homage to the early Grindhouse days, the drive-in circuit days, in terms of a few characters in the role that they will play is very reminiscent of the early Grindhouse, and that makes it fun. And I think probably, you'll see that's, Tarantino had dipped into some of that as well, Planet Terror and stuff. And so anyways, they get out there and they realize they're at the wrong place, and once they realize they're in for a load of trouble, then it becomes just a will of, can we survive? Can they survive? This truly is ultimately a team building exercise, but their lives are at stake, and so it is absolutely worth checking out. And maybe perhaps, like me, you kind of pick this up among tons of other movies from Dollar Tree and it's just been sitting on your shelf and you haven't watched it yet. Go through your Dollar Tree hauls. If this is one of them, definitely put this on, man, and check this out. This is a fun ride, and it's got some really over-the-top moments that sort of, I think in most other movies they'd just be like, come on, seriously, really? But it to a point it works in here. Chris Smith is able to make it work, and even if he doesn't work that well with you, it doesn't jive that well, it's not near as bad or awkward as it could have been. I think for me personally, Danny Dyer, who plays Steve, he's probably my favorite character to watch in this entire movie. And as I said, Christopher Smith, maybe best known for both Black Death and Creep. I'm trying to think. The composer, who also worked on Black Death, also did that movie Tales of Halloween. The cinematography, I really don't know much about the guy Ed Wild, but he actually shot in London Has Fallen, so I mean he kind of got a little taste of the big time, so to speak. But just filming on location in Hungary, it is amazing. I think the same thing about Color Out of Space. I think they filmed that in Portugal, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. It's almost mesmerizing. You can't take your eyes off of it sometimes, just because it's so cool to look at. It's different. I think a lot more companies are going out to locations like this because it just lends itself well, I think. And so, again, Office meets Hills Have Eyes. Yeah, I can see why you would say that. Fun, gory. There's a few moments that really do kind of go over the top a little bit. And then just when you think things are really going to get crazy, the camera it kind of goes off screen. And that might be disappointing to a few, but there's only one scene I can think of in particular. I almost kind of wish they would have stretched it out a little bit more, and that involved a flamethrower and somebody tied up to a tree. But it does balance the moments of absolute seriousness against moments that just absolutely make you want to roll. I mean, it is so funny. And there is a nice balance. Chris does a really, really good job, I think, with it. In terms of this kind of film, though, I think What We Do in the Shadows might be one of my all-time favorites. I absolutely die every time I watch that movie. Shaun of the Dead's not too far behind. And Severance is right there with them. You know, it is. It brings its own sense of uniqueness to the table, most of which I've already said. Where it's filmed at, it's just beautiful to look at. The cast, they do really well together, I thought, and they do really well to bring moments of sheer terror to the screen, and then moments when they're asked to kind of go over the top. It's kind of, I don't want to say too much. I probably already gave out a little too much about. It's definitely worth a check out, though. Severance from Chris Smith back in 2006. Your fill-in review for Tuesday. It is week 394. You'll see me again tomorrow when I take a look at the final installment of the Tombs of the Blind Dead franchise from Juan Armando de Osorio. And that'll be done tomorrow, and then you'll see the rest, everyone. I'll pick up the rest of the week as we move closer to the end of the month and our theme. So, Severance. Definitely check it out. As always, we leave you with Go Bills.